everybody, my name is Stephanie Yakabuchi. I am the Indiana Training Specialist in Preparedness, Health, and Safety Services of the American Red Cross in the Indiana Territory. I'm going to be making these videos and they're going to take place of our usual conference calls. That way you can send any questions or agenda items to me and I will be answering them in videos versus us sitting on a call, which I know can be difficult for everyone to attend from time to time. So these will be filled with updates, informative things that we're learning as a territory, and a lot of good stuff. So please look for links to these off and on in the next months ahead so that we are all ready to roll on the same page in the Indiana Territory. The other thing I want to make sure we go through is the instructor recap, the meetings that we had together. Something that I found a definition to was what in the reimbursement section on page 16 of the handbook does it mean for home? Is it your actual true home address? Is it the chapter location? What does that mean? Good news, got an answer. Home means home address, so make sure you're recording that accurately in Concur for reimbursement on mileage so that you are able to track your mileage correctly. Make sure that you are also including it as a round trip. It's very important. Something else I wanted to revisit was when to work. Make sure your profiles are up to date and accurate with your phone numbers and emails. Follow the guidance I recently sent to you in a when to work message to make sure that those items are revealed. So another instructor can see your contact information to make sure you're best prepared for co-teaching experiences. I also wanted to talk about logistics quickly and making sure that you do know that yes, we will be leaving items at chapters for internal training use, but if it is available and you would like to have one-on-one ratio of mannequins to participant in your class that day, you can use those mannequins, but the catch is you have to make sure you leave them in the way you found them, which is put back together and clean. If you don't clean them, then you can't use them, so don't use them if you don't want to clean them. And the other thing is, if you are interested in having more mannequins so you can have that one-to-one ratio experience in your classrooms, get in touch with logistics. They will be able to support you in that way to make sure that you have enough equipment to be able to do those one-on-one ratios in your classes. Also, something we wanted to remind you on is making sure you're getting your paperwork back to Nancy within 24 hours. So those rosters and course records really need to get back to her in that timely manner because it's very important for us to get those to the Training Support Center to complete the overall process so that community course participants are able to get to their 24-hour access of certificates in the Learning Center, and also that our items get sent out to the full service customers as needed, concluding the whole process of a class and training with us. So remember, you make her a happy camper if you get him in on time. Otherwise, she's got to send you those documents saying, where is it? We really need it. So make sure you're following that guidance. It's very important that everybody's staying on track with that. Also, something that I wanted to touch on is effectively co-teaching with one another. We want to make sure that everybody that is co-teaching in a class is sharing the overall experience, which means everyone really should be delivering the same amount of information, facilitating, cleaning up, arriving at the same time, which means 30 minutes, no less, to prepare for class. Make sure that you are communicating ahead of time on who's going to teach what, but also make sure you're all paying attention to how much everyone is doing, because we want to really make sure everyone is on the same page with who's going to be delivering what part of the course, and also that you all know how important it is to respect one another no matter how long you've been teaching with the organization or been an instructor. We want to make sure that everyone has a fair share in their role and what they do in the classroom. So always remember, happy instructors co-teaching together equals a happy class overall, which is very cool. That's something I do miss about being able to be out there teaching all the time, because I really learned a lot from co-teaching with other instructors. It really helped me develop me better as an instructor. So always look for those opportunities and really share the floor when it comes to instructing together. Another thing I wanted to make sure that I reflect on is e-time. E-time is very important. You have to get your stuff submitted, which stuff means your time card. Those are huge things to get turned in on time. And in the document that you will be provided as a recap of this entire video, there will be a nice timeline for you to pay attention to on when to get it into Gale. So always remember, a happy Gale means sending in your time card on time, okay? Pay attention to is the way you name your reports and the reimbursement when you're turning in that stuff at the same time as your time card. Into Concur, make sure your name of the report is the dates of the pay period. The business purpose will be teaching. The transaction date is the date of the course. And also, for the purpose of the trip, name that community course. And if it's full service, name that customer that you went to train that day. As a last little bit of reminders, please really make sure you're sticking to the content provided to you as an instructor in the instructor manual. These items in here were developed by professionals based off of research and a lot of other teams that were there to support us in creating these documents for us to follow and facilitate as an instructor for our course in the American Red Cross. If you ever think that you want to add in anything to the content, based off of something you've recently seen, read, whatever it may be, we really need to talk about those things one-on-one, because we really all have to make sure we're sticking to guidelines as instructors and providing the most accurate information, which is all in the instructor handbook and manual. So make sure that at any time you have questions about something that's in the content, really follow up with me and let's talk about it, because we can't be delivering things that stray away from the stuff that's in the content covered in the instructor manual. And also, if you ever need additional items, go to instructorscorner.org. There are tons of things there that could help you in developing your class experience a little more. Timelines, references to blended learning, and make sure for blended learning you revisit that item I talked about in a recent When to Work message. If you have any questions, just let me know. Something that is a new update is that you may have already started to receive the new formatted surveys for all the classes that you provide. So really make sure you are turning those back into Nancy within 5 days of course completion. The reason is it really helps me know how well everyone's doing out there, and it also gives me the opportunity to send some major kudos to the following instructors. Atlas, Bree, Brent, and Mark Lee recently received high marks for recent classes that they've provided to customers, both full service and community. So that not only helps me know how well everyone's doing, but also lets me know if we need to talk about some places for improvement, which is never a bad thing. But really stick to that 5-day turnaround. On our side, the way we're going to support that is making sure that you have what you need to get those back to us in a quick turnaround time. So also expect to receive some guidance on the self-addressed envelopes that will be returned back to Nancy. They will be covered for postage. So all you would have to do is put those surveys back into the envelope and drop it in a mailbox anywhere. Another item that I want to make sure I cover is Instructor Code of Conduct. So you will be requested to return in a freshly signed Code of Conduct to me. Expect a separate message about that as well. It'll include a deadline. Make sure you meet it, otherwise I'll be kind of poking you to find out where it is. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we're developing a well-rounded instructor base, which means expanding and adding instructor certifications to your list. So we have a lot of folks out there that have multiple instructor certifications, but right now we're going to start rolling out a focus to make sure everyone is also certified as a babysitter instructor, and also it's a CPRO instructor. I don't want to use too many acronyms, but it's CPR AED for the professional rescuer. So be looking out for an email about that as well. Not everybody will necessarily be doing the same kind of bridging at the same time. We're developing a schedule for that, but make sure you're following that guidance as needed. Another thing I wanted to remind everyone about is following the new guidance released about blended learning. So always revisit that message I sent to you on When to Work about how we can accept those participants who may not have been able to register ahead of time, or something may have happened where they couldn't take the online content prior to arriving at the skills session. So just go back to that message. That is direct guidance from national, and then also our executive director. So please review those things if you have any questions. Again, if you need to get in touch with me, you can send me a message in When to Work at any time. That's usually the quickest and easiest way for me to get back to you with any questions or concerns you have. But I hope everyone's doing well and enjoying their summer. See ya!